health headline that got our attention tonight about coffee and how much many of us drink every day. Scientists, in fact, looking at that feeling you get when the caffeine wears off. Sometimes that chemical crash so intense, they're now considering it a medical condition. Here tonight, ABC's Susan Solomon.
Ever missed your morning caffeine fix?
Yeah, I ended up with a really bad headache.
You wouldn't want to be around without caffeine.
Caffeine. It's the world's most popular drug, consumed daily by millions in their morning coffee, afternoon tea, or even in energy drinks. For many, it's a lifeline, a necessary boost to get through the day. But behind the comforting aroma of a freshly brewed cup lies a complex and often troubling industry. The story of caffeine is not just about its invigorating effects, but also about exploitation, environmental degradation, and a tangled web of corporate interests. What really goes into that cup of coffee or can of energy drink? Join me as we delve into the dirty business behind caffeine. Chapter 1. The origins of our obsession. Imagine the bustling markets of ancient Ethiopia, where legend has it that a goat herder named Kaldi first discovered the energizing effects of coffee beans. His goats, after nibbling on the red berries of a certain plant, became unusually frisky and energetic. Kaldi tried the berries himself and experienced a newfound vigor. Word of this miraculous plant spread, and by the 15th century, coffee had become a staple in the Islamic world, eventually making its way to Europe and beyond. Tea, on the other hand, has an equally storied past. Originating in ancient China, it was said to be discovered by Emperor Shen Nong when a tea leaf accidentally fell into his boiling water. The resulting infusion was both refreshing and invigorating. By the 8th century, tea had become an integral part of Chinese culture, and by the 17th century, it was being traded globally. Both coffee and tea became more than just beverages. They were cultural phenomena, social lubricants, and economic powerhouses. But as their popularity grew, so did the complexities of their production and trade. Chapter 2. The Dark Side of Coffee. Today, coffee is a multi-billion-dollar industry, but it's one built on the backs of countless farmers, many of whom live in poverty. The majority of the world's coffee is grown in developing countries, with Brazil, Vietnam, and Colombia leading the charge. Smallholder farmers produce about 80% of the world's coffee, yet they often see only a fraction of the profits. The global coffee market is notoriously volatile, with prices fluctuating wildly due to factors like weather, disease, and market speculation. This instability leaves farmers vulnerable, often forcing them to sell their beans at a loss just to survive. Fair trade certifications aim to address these issues by ensuring farmers receive a minimum price. But not all coffee is fair trade certified, and even when it is, the benefits can be uneven. Additionally, the environmental impact of coffee farming is significant. Traditional coffee farming involved growing coffee under the shade of trees, promoting biodiversity, and protecting ecosystems. However, to increase yield, many farms have shifted to sun-grown coffee, which requires clearing large swathes of forest, leading to deforestation, loss of biodiversity, and increased carbon emissions. The human cost is also severe. Coffee farmers and laborers often work in harsh conditions with little access to healthcare or education. Child labor is a pervasive issue in some regions, with children working long hours instead of attending school. The journey from bean to cup is fraught with challenges and injustices that are often invisible to the end consumer. Chapter 3. The Hidden Costs of Tea. Tea production shares many of the same issues as coffee, with exploitation and environmental degradation being common themes. The majority of the world's tea is produced in countries like China, India, Sri Lanka, and Kenya. In these regions, tea pickers, often women, work long hours for meager wages. In India, for instance, the conditions on many tea plantations can be dire. Workers live in overcrowded and unsanitary housing, lacking access to clean water and adequate health care. Despite working for some of the world's largest and most profitable tea brands, many tea workers remain trapped in a cycle of poverty. Environmental issues also plague the tea industry. The use of pesticides and fertilizers is widespread, leading to soil degradation, water pollution, and health risks for workers. Deforestation to make way for tea plantations further exacerbates the environmental impact, contributing to habitat loss and climate change. Fair trade and organic certifications exist in the tea industry as well, but like with coffee, they are not a panacea. While they can improve conditions and promote sustainable practices, they are not universally adopted, and enforcement can be inconsistent. Chapter 4. The Energy Drink Boom. In recent years, the caffeine market has expanded beyond coffee and tea, with energy drinks becoming a major player. Brands like Red Bull, Monster, and Rockstar have become household names, promising an instant energy boost in a can. However, the rise of energy drinks has brought its own set of issues. Energy drinks often contain high levels of caffeine and sugar, leading to health concerns such as increased heart rate, high blood pressure, and obesity. The marketing of these drinks, particularly to young people, has been criticized for promoting unhealthy consumption habits. Energy drink companies often sponsor extreme sports and music festivals, creating a lifestyle brand that appeals to a younger demographic. Moreover, the production and disposal of energy drink cans contribute to environmental pollution. The extraction of raw materials for aluminum cans, combined with the energy-intensive production process, has a significant carbon footprint. Additionally, improper disposal of these cans can lead to environmental littering. Chapter 5. Corporate interests and consumer awareness. The caffeine industry is dominated by a few large corporations that wield significant influence over production and pricing. Companies like Nestle, Starbucks, and Unilever have vast supply chains that reach deep into coffee and tea growing regions. While these companies have the resources to effect positive change, they are also driven by profit motives that can perpetuate exploitation and environmental harm. Consumer awareness is crucial in driving change within the industry. As more people become aware of the issues behind their daily caffeine fix, the demand for ethically sourced and environmentally sustainable products increases. Movements toward fair trade, organic, and shade-grown coffee and tea are gaining momentum, pushing companies to adopt more responsible practices. However, true change requires systemic shifts. Governments and international organizations need to implement and enforce regulations that protect workers and the environment. Companies must commit to transparency and accountability in their supply chains, and consumers need to remain vigilant, using their purchasing power to support ethical practices. Chapter 6. Moving towards a better future. The story of caffeine doesn't have to end on a bitter note. There are signs of progress and hope within the industry. Initiatives like direct trade, where companies work directly with farmers to ensure fair prices and sustainable practices, are emerging. Some coffee and tea brands are investing in community development projects, improving living conditions, and providing education and healthcare for workers and their families. Technological advancements are also playing a role. Innovations in agricultural practices can increase yield without compromising the environment. Blockchain technology is being explored to enhance transparency in supply chains, allowing consumers to trace the origins of their coffee or tea and verify ethical sourcing claims. Ultimately, creating a more equitable and sustainable caffeine industry requires collaboration across all levels, from farmers and workers to corporations, governments, and consumers. By acknowledging the issues and committing to solutions, we can ensure that our daily caffeine fix is not only invigorating, but also just and sustainable. Thank you for joining me on this deep dive into the dirty business behind caffeine. If you found this story insightful, don't forget to hit the thumbs up. It helps more people discover this content. Share it with anyone you think might find it interesting. And don't forget to subscribe for more in-depth stories and documentaries. Your thoughts and comments are always welcome. So drop a line below if you have any questions, suggestions, or just want to share your views on the caffeine industry. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more intriguing stories from the world of food and drink. And